A drone packed with explosives, a £3.4 billion gas project, and NATO fighter jets racing to destroy it. Romania says the threat came within hundreds of meters of its critical Black Sea energy platform and blames Russia. Experts warn more attacks could follow. So, is Putin targeting Europe's energy lifeline or testing how far he can push NATO? Vladimir Putin could push NATO into crisis mode if he continues testing the alliance with brazen incursions and attacks. NATO scrambled fighter jets to destroy a marine drone loaded with explosives near a crucial Black Sea gas project in Romania on August 19th. The suspected Russian plot comes amid fears of an apocalyptic war in Europe, as Putin lines its borders with new drone bases capable of striking NATO. Intelligence expert Professor Anthony Glees told The Sun that unless Putin agrees to desist from crossing NATO's borders again, NATO will move into crisis mode.
All of us in NATO are genuinely afraid that Putin, hitting out all over the place, will light the fuse that would lead to a more general war between Russia and NATO.
Romania spotted the threat around Neptun Deep and deployed F-16 jets to blast away the drone before it could wreck the vital energy source, getting within a few hundred meters of the platform. The £3.4 billion Neptun Deep project is expected to make Romania the EU's largest gas producer when it comes on stream in 2027. Earlier this month, Romanian army divers also destroyed 2 Gerber-type drones drifting near the project. Former British Army officer Hamish de Breton-Gordon said the attacks show Russia is trying to replicate Ukrainian tactics as Kyiv intensifies long-range strikes on Russian oil refineries, forcing Russia to import fuel.
If Russia could damage Europe's gas industry, in this case in Romania, that would make sense. Attacks like the one we've seen in Romania will probably increase. Russia keeps telling us here in the UK that they're going to attack us. This would come in the form of drone and missile incursions in the Baltics, Poland, and elsewhere.
Meanwhile, Russian military expert Keir Giles told The Sun that NATO has succeeded in sidestepping discussion of invoking Article 5, but that pretense can't be sustained forever, giving Russia every incentive to keep pushing boundaries. Romanian President Nicușor Dan blamed Russia for Wednesday's intrusion, condemning the escalation and vowing Romania remains vigilant alongside NATO allies. Romania shares a 382-mile border with Ukraine and has seen repeated Russian drone breaches, including one near Galați on August 19th. 2 Spanish F-18s and a Romanian helicopter were deployed to protect the border. Putin faces mounting crises at home, waning support, dwindling cash, and a stalemated war, leading experts to warn a cornered Putin could risk a Walpurgiston-stoking attack on a NATO nation. Dozens of drone launch sites have emerged along Russia's borders with Ukraine and Belarus, with imagery showing storage for over 1,000 long-range suicide drones at one site. A new US intelligence report warns Putin may be plotting a small-scale land incursion to test NATO between now and 2029. Keir warned that a purely defensive response creates a cost imbalance favoring Russia, and that individual NATO countries need reassurance the alliance will stand behind them. After Wednesday's incident, European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen slammed a hybrid warfare campaign against the bloc, pointing to the €800 billion Readiness 2030 agenda and new drone defense initiatives. Though she stopped short of directly blaming Putin's Russia. A new warning has emerged from Moscow to London. Russia has accused Britain of deliberately escalating the war in Ukraine after reports that British-made drones have been used by Ukrainian forces to carry out long-range strikes deep inside Russian territory. And Moscow's response has been blunt. Britain will ultimately pay the price for its involvement. The warning followed a Sunday Times report which said drones manufactured by 2 British companies had been deployed by Ukraine over the past 6 months. The aircraft were reportedly used against military and industrial targets hundreds of kilometers from the Ukrainian border, including oil refineries in Volgograd and Yaroslavl. Russia's embassy in London responded with an unusually direct threat.
London is deliberately opting for an escalation of the Ukraine crisis, while hypocritically professing a desire for peace. In doing so, the United Kingdom is acting as an accomplice and co-perpetrator of the bloody crimes and terrorist attacks committed by Ukrainian neo-Nazis, seeking to contain Russia and inflict maximum damage on it by proxy.
Moscow claimed London was deliberately choosing escalation, an action whose price would be heavy to pay.
London's actions will inevitably carry consequences for which it will have to answer. The deeper its involvement in the conflict and the greater its support for Kiev's terrorist machinery, the higher the price it will pay.
But Britain is showing no sign of backing down. Journalist Alex Raufoglu reported that the UK Ministry of Defence responded by saying the government would continue supplying Ukraine with the weapons and equipment for Kiev to defend itself against Russia's invasion.
Britain stands shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine and is committed to providing the equipment the country needs to defend itself. Russia should be in no doubt about the resolve of this government to stand against Russian aggression in Ukraine and against the UK and our allies.
At the same time, Prime Minister Andy Burnham said that Britain will support Ukraine 100% against Russia and remain at its side in its hour of need.
This is the UK doing what it has long said it would do, which is to support Ukraine 100% against this illegal war led by Vladimir Putin. We are providing support so that Ukraine can defend itself, and that's been the British position all the way through this conflict by previous Prime Ministers. It remains the case with me. We are not fair weather friends. We will be there in Ukraine's hour of need, and that won't change.
Are you embarrassed, and what action are you taking to make sure that things like that never happen again?
No, I'm not, because there was a minimal exchange, nothing of consequence, and actually quickly I realised that this needed to be reported, and I did so. So I handled it in the right way. All politicians are, receiving these pressures and these challenges, but I did everything right. There was a minimal exchange of information of zero consequence, and it was quickly reported.
Britain has become one of Ukraine's most prominent military supporters since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022. London has supplied Storm Shadow cruise missiles and tens of thousands of drones, and says it plans to deliver more than 150,000 drones by the end of 2026. Ukraine has stepped up attacks on Moscow and elsewhere deep inside Russia, particularly targeting its oil refineries and logistics sites for key online retailer Wildberries. On August 15th, Ukraine fired nearly 822 drones towards Russia, with 600 aiming for Moscow. On the same night, Russian attacks on Ukraine killed at least 7 people and injured more than 39. At the same time, Russian forces continue large-scale missile and drone attacks across Ukraine. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has warned that Moscow would continue disabling Ukraine's war effort.
Russia would continue to adopt much harsher methods to destroy everything that enables the West to fuel Kiev's war machine.
For Britain, however, the message remains unchanged. Supporting Ukraine is also about protecting British and European security. For Moscow, that support is crossing an increasingly dangerous line. And as British-built weapons strike deeper into Russia, the war of words between London and Moscow is now becoming almost as stark as the conflict itself.